Johnson, and this is Focus on Liberia. Hit it! From Cape Mount to Cape Palmer, Mount Nimba to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Bokonjre, to educate, elevate, and promote. Talk about home affairs, hey, in diaspora, current affairs, hey, reliable information, history, ooh, talking about culture, yeah, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am...
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of On Point. As usual, we have a stable crew that we don't have to call. We don't have to remind them. These gentlemen are patriots and committed to the show and informing the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, do us a favor. Please share this show into your chat rooms, into your groups, into your personal contact. Mr. Padmo, if you can share it in our own chat room, I will be able to share. For some reason, I cannot share outside of that format. But today is a great day for us. Not for Liberia, not for Liberians. At times are very, very difficult on the ground. Liberians are catching hell. And usually, when things are not going well in the country, the people rely on their government to show directions, to calm down our nerves, to allay some of the fear as to what is happening. In developed countries, this is where the leadership comes in. The father or the mother of the country, usually at this point, will come to the nation and address the nation periodically. During World War II, during the Great Depression, Franklin D. Roosevelt had a fire chat. In the evening, he would come and tell stories, inform the American people what is happening, how long it's going to take, even though he did not promise chicken in every pot. But if there was soup kitchen nearest to you, he would tell you what to do, when to go, how to get it. That's leadership. Our country is in dire need of leadership at this point. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have gathered here to give you we talk about the main course. The saga at the House of Representatives seems to have no ending. Even our international partners are washing their hands of Liberia. My friends, I have with me three of the brightest minds, My co-host Michael Padmore, how you doing there, sir?
I'm doing good. Mr. Gaiman. Thanks for joining us on the show. Thanks for leading this show as you do always. And I look forward to a spirited debate.
Great. Mr. Taiwo, in Houston, how are you doing there, my friend? How's the family? How's everything going with you?
I'm doing very good. The family is good, and everything is going well. We've just been having a lot of rain here, and Houston is a place that they built. It's so big, but the drainage system is not so good. So the moment it rains for like maybe an hour or so, places start going underwater. So we hope the rain stops.
Great. Dr. Abudi, from across the ocean, how is Great Britain? How's London? How's your part of the world, sir? And how's Arsenal doing? I know you got a week off.
Well, you got a week off as well, so I'm not sure what you think. You got a week off. Yeah, you got a week off. No, it's great. You know, I'm looking forward to another great show as always. I think I always look forward to coming and sharing my ideas, but learning from my fellow panelists on here. So I'm looking forward to another great show. Thank you for having me.
Great. Mr. Padmore, last week someone called me and say, what is happening in our country? I know we got 4 major issues to discuss, but let's begin with the House of Representatives. It is embarrassing that our nation, the Republic of Liberia, that boasts to be the oldest democratic republic, freedom fighter, people are coming to our home to tell us how to be democratic. And yet and still, we can't find our way. Mr. Padmore, you were there during the coup, you were there during the war, you were there during the Charles Taylor era. So for some of you that thought that things were getting better, I don't know how you see it, how you see this.
I think it's sad. First of all, just looking at Liberia, its formation, its standing in Africa. It's really sad. I grew up listening to the stories of my father. My father was one of the signatories to the United Nations. My father was also ambassador to the U.S. So he was in the corridors from 1960 to 1967. This was when a lot of countries were being given independence or were winning the independence and seeking diplomacy. Liberia was the standard in Washington that other African countries looked to. They would come and sit with my father and other diplomats, and we would teach them diplomacy, how to go about it, how to understand it. That when a diplomat is telling you one thing, you can't then listen to what he's saying. You got to be able to understand the language of diplomacy and all of the protocols that come with it. I mean, when I look at Liberia from that stature, and I look at where we are right now, in my lifetime, it is disheartening. And it's not only disheartening because of where we find ourselves, because anybody can fall down. What is disheartening is that we can't even pick ourselves up. You know, we started a war. Rwanda went through a war. Rwanda found peace. They found a way forward. They've lifted themselves up. We're still stumbling year after year. We're still stumbling. And it's so disheartening because it doesn't even look like we see a way forward. Now, I saw a lot of people kind of condescend the involvement of ECOWAS. I was there in Liberia when ECOMOG landed. I believe it was Flag Day, August 24th, 1990, under heavy bombardment. I befriended ECOMOG soldiers, Nigerian battalion, Ghanaian battalion, the Sierra Leonean battalion, the Guinean battalion. You can go on and on. The Senegalese that came later on. These people died on our soil. Their blood is soaked into the soil of Liberia. So when they see the peace that they died for being threatened, they have to speak up. They have an obligation to come back and be like, look, we all stood in this thing together. So we can't just stay inside and let you guys screw this whole thing up. So when I see young people who are born after the war, they know nothing about something like that, and they're talking, you know, it's sad. But let me end on this. We continue to dangerously move to this place of chaos, and we'll continue to play with it, you know. And so for us who have seen a lot in our lifetime, we'll continue to sound the warning bells that we need to take this seriously. You know, the only thing that can hold the land together is the rule of law. Without the law, there is chaos. And we have to stand by it, whether we agree with it or not. Yeah, we'll stop right there.
Thank you very much, Mr. Padmore. I know you very well. I know the family. I know if your old man was to come back to Monrovia today, for a man who was ambassador making $300, $400 a month,
yep,
and serve with dignity and honor, okay, for the peace of country. To listen to now people are making $20,000 a month. It will blow his mind. But Dr. Booty, here we are in the House of Representatives, the most important part of the legislature or the branches of government beside the judicial branches, judicial branch here. We are talking about there can be no instrument associated with spending. Everything begins and originates in the house. That's how important it is. And for these folks to have the house hijacked, to see my own sedition, Thomas Fala quoting, making an American quote, taking it out of context and saying, Madam Chair, the minority can have their say, but the majority will have our will. Can you imagine the miscarriage of American justice and jurisprudence? Mr. Dr. Booty, your take on this issue?
Well, I think, thank you, Mr. Gaiman. I think, look, there are a couple of things that I've been reflecting on. I think, first of all, is looking at how far, you know, just taking, and I said this last week as well, but taking a leaf from my brother's, Mr. Patmore's statement he just made. Liberia has fallen so far from where we were as leaders, right? Where, you know, for those of us who've studied Liberian history, and even if we disagree with what President Tutton and the Monrovia Bloc did in terms of this uniting of Africa or undermining the uniting of Africa, the one thing you cannot say about the leaders we had at that time is that they were always respected. People disagree with them, but there was a level of understanding, a level of respect for those leaders. What we have in Liberia now, and my mentor wrote a piece recently at Dr. Paley and referred to it as shenanigans, right? You have a bunch of individuals who do not understand what it means to be a member of the national legislature. These guys do not understand what it means for someone to call you honorable, right? The word honorable, most of them have not gone to the dictionary to define what it means. Most of them don't understand what it means. So they're acting dishonorably, even though they're supposed to be honorable. So that's the one part of it. The second part of it, look, and I know you talk about it, and Mr. Nangbe, unfortunately, he's not here today, talks about it. There was a time in Liberia when the young people were so enlightened that they will not stand for the kind of nonsense that is going on right now. We talk about the 70s. My dad, my uncles were so, quote unquote, as you guys refer to them, the progressives, right? And these guys would stand up to leaders, not concerned about how it's going to impact on them as individuals. What we have in our country, and now you can credit it to the mismanagement of the country under President Sirleaf and other people that has led a lot of our young people to drugs and crime and just disinterested with their civic duties. But because our young people do not understand what it means to hold our leaders accountable. So you've got these two things. You've got a bunch of individuals who don't understand what they're supposed to be doing, what their office stands for, and then a bunch of people who should be holding them responsible, holding them accountable, don't even know that they're supposed to be holding these people accountable. So Liberia is now a complete shamble. Honorables are not being honorable and they're not doing their jobs. And the people who are supposed to hold them accountable don't even know that they have the power to hold these people accountable. And that is where we are. When you have a group of people, look, the majority in Liberia do not want what is going on at the legislature to continue. The majority of the Liberian people want these guys to work, to put a check on the executive so that the president is not traveling here, there, and yonder and just wasting money. They want them to put a check on the executive so that the Ministry of Education is not taking 25 million, say the coming century on the go land, STEM, whatever. We don't have the industry or the sector to be able to absorb those people when they come back. The legislature should be putting a check on the executive so that the abuse of government resources that is going on in the executive cannot be going on and these things can stop. That is their job. That is the only job that the legislature has. Make sure that the executive does not become rogue. So the majority of the Liberian people, that's what they want. So Mr. Fala is, I'm not going to use the word I want to use, but he doesn't understand what he is supposed to be doing. He doesn't understand the role he's supposed to play because his job is to make sure that the president and his cronies are not doing what they're doing with impunity. Instead, if the allegations are true, they are allowing themselves to be used by the executive so that they cannot put. Can you imagine, Mr. Gateman, that the president, a man who has been in government for 45 years, and I'll rest on this, will write to the clerk of the House of Representatives, undermining the Speaker's office, undermining his own office as president because it's telling the world that you're an idiot, right? Because if you don't know that the Speaker is the Speaker, if you don't understand the law, that this guy has not been voted out by 2/3 of his colleagues, so he is the Speaker, you are telling the world that even you, with your 45 years or whatever you say you have, you don't even understand the law. Because that's why you write to the clerk and not to the Speaker. Because according to you, because 45 or 43 people go sit down somewhere, that means the Speaker not Speaker no more. Can you imagine that we have to sit here and dissect things that people who their length of service to the government of Liberia older than some of us, and then we have to come and tell them that, look, no, that's not how you do. Can you imagine? That's how far we're falling. That's how far, and it's a shame. And those who lost their lives, like Mr. Partner was talking, not just our ECOMOG brothers, but you know those 13 people that were put on the pole and shot, right? For the same democracy that we say we have here today, for the accountability, for the rule of law, that, oh, they stole money. So do you know what they're doing right now? Do you know how many people Charles Taylor came and killed? Do you know what all those deaths now means? Nothing, because you've got a bunch of idiots, right? And I'll use the word, a bunch of idiots holding our country hostage when they're supposed to be putting a check on the executive. Mr. President, you cannot suspend the governor of the central bank. Only the legislature can do that. So whoever you put in there, let them move from there. Mr. President, no, what you're doing at LTA is wrong. You can't suspend people pending investigation and then bring your cronies in. We will not allow that to happen. The other thing that appear in the budget, so you buy ammo car. Who won't care you in Liberia? Go spend millions of dollars on ammo car. Who in Liberia running behind you won't care you? Go spend ammo for what? That's what they're supposed to be doing. And those are the things that pain somebody like myself. I'm ranting a little bit because these things are going unchecked. And the individuals that are supposed to be checking them are sitting and they're collecting 15,000 to go remove Speaker. 15,000.
Thank you. Mr. Tao, I'm going to go to you because this one is like a broken record. You have said it over and over and over, but we still have to discuss it. What is going on? I'm embarrassed now. My wife is from Haiti. And the Haiti situation is totally different from us. There's it historically and we know it was a sabotage from the beginning, but not Liberia. Mr. Tao, what is going on in that country that make it so hard for us to now boast of the place as a certain country? For some children will say, I know they were being facetious, let's just sell the country and divide the money. Everybody get 1,000, and there will be us at Dr. Tao. Go ahead.
So look at what happened here. If you set up any kind of system or a country or even a structure, if the foundation is wrong, everything you get is going to be wrong. The country called Liberia built on a faulty foundation. So I don't know where we're coming from when we want to say that Liberia then was respected and it was up there. Liberia had really never been up there, unless you're speaking in terms of when the whites control Zimbabwe. They were profiting from it. They had few people had 90% of the land, 90% or higher on a small piece. And then when the Africans fought back for the land, it's not that particular fight by failed. It's the methods that were put in place to make sure it doesn't work. Then they said, now you see, when we were in charge, Zimbabwe was the breadbasket of Africa. But who was benefiting from that breadbasket? So it's the same scenario with Liberia. The American Liberians left this place. They went and stole a country. Who can you tell me when they're displacing our people from where Firestone is today? Well, can you speak to any of them? For them to say Liberia were up there and Liberia doing well when they displaced my great-grand-uncles from LAC because they were bringing the Liberia American Agricultural Company and flushed them out. When 96% or higher of the population, their land was being taken or being displaced. And without representation that they could not get into university, they could not do this unless you're country boy, you must change your name. So let us not try to do the foundation that was set was very cruel. It was a slave-master relationship. The very thing that was learned here on the plantation, it is the only way in which they know how to act. That is why you see the country was built with no plan. Look at the self-centeredness. Only around that 17th Street and other places, that is where the Congo boys live. Those are the places that they left everywhere else to die. This then came to what? 1980. Yes, 1980 failed. Also, the so-called country boys took over and they couldn't do anything. But why couldn't they do anything? Because these people were never included in any kind of government. They were never nurtured in any way, cultivated for them to even know anything but leadership. So they themselves were corn, they came in there and they started to mess up. This brought us to the war. The war went on. All the people that are in the house today, these are people that are my age group, that most of our age group, we all grew up in the war. What did they know? Nothing. They say, they're doing rehabilitation. They created a whole community named after that 540. You just line up, they give you $540, you go. The country was never, the guys were never demobilized, and they were never actually integrated. There was nothing happening. People just line up, you give some gun, and they tell you to go. This is what we have. The Thomas Fowler, the Emmanuel Nokwe, they were in fire in Kakatan over there with gun. The Evan Snow, the Prince Johnson. These are the people that you have in the house. So I don't know why you expect something so different. These people did not go through any kind of real process for them to actually arrive at those places. You keep saying here that the Liberian people don't know that they're supposed to hold. Tell me, my brother, how are they supposed to hold these people? You know that the greatest crooked stuff that they ever done in this governing system that they gave you, that they work for the people. No, they don't work for the people. They're done. That is why I keep saying, let us look at this system. Isham mentioned it. Everybody, I don't know what is, we've been using it, it's not working. What is wrong with us saying, you know what, wait, hold on, let's just look at this stuff another way. Okay, so how are these people, how the Liberian people supposed to hold this legislature responsible? How? In the same constitution, you got to go first and you got to get signature. Then you got to do a referendum. Then you got to bring it, and they have to agree for them to punish themselves. Then they have to be. It's impossible. There's nothing you can do once you vote them in, and voting is not even the issue because you can go ahead and clear all these ones out. Guess what? The system is set to be corrupt because once they get in there, nobody can do anything to them. What can you do to them? Look at what's going on now. What can you do to them? Nothing. Unless you say, I'm going to wait till 2029 for them to vote them out, and you vote them out, you bring the new crew. We've been going through this. Okay? But look, I mentioned here last time that ECOWAS was going to fail. ECOWAS is, yes, they came to Liberia and they sacrificed there, and we recognize that. But the body itself, the setup, is a toothless bulldog as you see it. Okay, what can they enforce? Okay, so Nancy Bido won a case there. Where is the enforcement? If you look at the ECOWAS chapter, they have no power to enforce anything. It is just a ceremonial stuff because what the guys did was each person wanted to stay in their own country, in the African country, for them to entrench themselves so that they don't want any kind of reputable body to regulate them or even question them or even hold them responsible. So they created ECOWAS that way. Very, very loose. If you are familiar, the same thing happened with the OAU when they were forming it, when it was supposed to lead to something real tangible to make Africa on the split. They had the Monrovia group and the Casablanca group. Before you know what happened, there was fight. And if you look at the history behind it, then you will know how the fight came and who created and who sponsored the AU or the OAU that succeeded. So look, in this whole thing here, let me just rest on this. In this whole thing here, these guys don't know anything. You wanted to be good, and then the guys are clowns, Mr. Booty, Dr. Booty. These guys are clowns. These guys don't go in there in order for them to do anything for the Liberian people. The present one that we have now, even with how bad Liberia was from back, we didn't have this. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf set this up. Way back in 2006, I was being called conspiracy theory. I was being called all kinds of names when I was pointing some of these things out. 06, 07, 08. This is it. A leader have not succeeded unless their successors succeed. That lady set this country up. You mentioned Rwanda. Rwanda, look at what the leader did. He came in. He had no intention of actually trying to enrich the family immediately or whatever it was. He set a very good foundation and he was able to build something. Ellen came in. What did she do? Stealing all over the place, bringing in people, paying them all kinds of money. The Americans knew that they wanted to sponsor this kind of stuff. They started to fund the budget so that people can take this kind of salary. They knew what they were doing. They wanted the country to be like this.
Thank you.
Let me say that really quickly. No, please, before you come, Mr. Palmer, I think, first of all, what I want to push back on, Mr. Towers, look, they're blaming the Congo team. We need to stop it now, right? Because the Congo been out of power for long enough, right? Most of the educated people I know in my circle of educated friends, right, with the PhDs and the DHDs and the TTDs and whatever Ds, indigenous Liberians, right? They're not Congo people. So this idea that, because the Congo people did it, I think we can take away from the fact that, yes, there was some divisiveness, but we've come far enough where as indigenous Liberians, there is enough of us who are educated enough, right? Who are leaders in our sector. You look at the woman at the Ministry of Education now, she's not Congo woman. You look at most of the ministers in government and they're not Congo people, and all of them, this woman was a president or a vice president of some university in America. So that idea that we must blame the Congo people, what problem? I want to let's cut it short now, finish. Secondly, you say, what can people do? Look, I don't know if you know, but Lima Bowie, as far as I remember, when Chancellor them was shooting gun, they say you go to go Peace Corps, they won't go Peace Corps. The women can't stay on the road. They say you go to the Peace Corps, you have to K up, right? What happened? Chancellor was forced to go to the Peace Corps. Even if you can say, that was not the only reason why he went, at least these women put their lives at risk for something that they believe to be so important, which was Liberia, right? Now, what I'm saying here is people in Liberia, and this is where I will call out the ANC, I will call out the CDC, I will call out the so-called opposition parties in Liberia, because this is what opposition is about. You can see what is going on now in the legislature is wrong. The opposition parties should be coming out and vehemently denouncing what is going on. They should be calling on Liberians to join them to protest against what is going on. Those are ways that you can call these. If you go and put a blockade, a peaceful blockade, set on the premises of the legislature, say, look, if you guys will not go in the main chamber, you cannot have an unconstitutional gathering on our dime. Like Dr. Paley said, look, the Liberian people should demand that they 2 months they sitting and they will not get paid for that 2 months. People can do stuff. The power is in the people. The power is vested. People need to get up. And if you think that these guys are doing things that is affecting you as an individual, because rice prices going up, instead of them checking on that one, ain't doing it, that your pocket suffering. LEC ain't doing well, that they don't want to be checking on it. Now we're checking on it, doing their own thing. All those things are affecting you. If you don't stand up today, that you don't want inside. Hey, that means I give me a woman from Haiti. He ain't coming to Liberia. He coming to Haiti. They feed it.
Mr. Padmore, let's talk so and talk so. Let's go to the foundation that Mr. Tao is talking about. When our brothers and sisters finally fought their way out of the plantation, out of slavery, everywhere the United States and Great Britain have gone with their people, they have gone in and gave them a package and say, listen, like they did the Marshall Plan. Okay, we're going to help you. You will do this. You will do that. Liberia was set up to fail. The United States failed us. They took our brothers and sisters out of vengeance because they decided they were no longer going to take slavery anymore. They wanted to get out of here. They just took them to a place called Liberia and just dashed them. They didn't give them the fundamental city planning. They didn't give them the health care. They didn't give them anything. Left them on their own. And today, the United States, you think at this point, will intervene and say, you know what? We have lost too much money here. We're not going to allow this. We're going to fix this. Instead, here we are. So let's talk so and talk so. Our own grandfather, the United States, have not done well by us. And not once have I heard the U.S. Embassy, the U.S. Ambassador, or anybody from the United States tell us that, listen, this is not how this country should be run. You may be an independent country, but everything that affects you affects us. We will not take it. Instead, here we are.
Well, Mr. Gimme, I remember when Ambassador McCarthy wrote his article, what would you say against rivals to and I remember how all the posts are running. You know what? Liberia is a sovereign nation. Liberia, you know, sometimes when the children are here, sometimes you gotta let them fall and make a mistake. You know, you can't keep pampering them. You know, after what 200 years, like how long are you gonna pamper these children? You know, it's like at some point in time you just gotta be like, okay, you're gonna have to go. Grandpa got their own problems. You know, Grandpa got high inflation. Grandpa got border issue, immigration issue. Grandpa got so many things. Grandpa leader just lost the presidency, lost the Senate, and failed to regain the House. And the new grandpa that come in, hey, them with your heart. The new grandpa that come in, he even see you. He not even see you. That's what you're on. He's already made it clear. He even see you. But this is what happens, you know, when we have the opportunity, we've wasted it. So now for the next 4 years, we stuck in it. No, you guys not gonna look our way. You guys, you know, we can start killing each other in Maria. We'll finish each other. The United States government is not gonna look our way. They're not gonna do it. You know, look, at some point in time, we have to take it upon ourselves and stop blaming everybody. You know, we can't. You can't. That's excuses. I know what's right. Dr. Buriye know what is right. Mr. Kimmy, you know what is right. Mr. Tower know what. Nothing that in our head, not in other people's head. You know, so not half of the people are educated in the West. They're keen. They went to school. They went to college. They went by Liberia. They ran for a seat in the legislature. They got it. And then they started acting crazy. And they say, oh, well, you know, they're doing it because and nobody showed them how to do it. Come on, man. Come on. Google, Chief. They use Google. You know, they're excuses. They're excuses. And until the people realize this, that those people, look, if the people will rise up. I was in Liberia 1995, there was the Tuparo massacre. Look, the people on Tuparo, they took those burnt bodies, put them in pickups, and they marched behind those pickups from Tuparo to Central Monrovia. That same year, all the warring factions went to Abuja. They signed the power sharing agreement, and they had Charter King to Monrovia. Sometimes you gotta stand up. You just gotta stand up and say enough is enough.
Yeah, but Mr. Padmore, not for the past 6 years you were here. It was protest after protest. Don't you think the people are suffering from protest fatigue? I mean, it was one protest after another, after another, after another. 6 years.
Without those protests, you know, the party are not going to be, well, not going to regain power. You know, the party are not going to get. It was those protests that started to derail the we are government. It was those protests that people started to call we are Bobo president. It was those protests that the speaker lost his election. It was those protests that Thomas Fala refused to run again in Monrovia. It was those protests that Akara's Gray lost his election. Those were the protests that people stood up. They didn't come from anywhere else. They came from right in that same group. And they stood up and they said, Akara's Gray, you will not do this to us again. Thomas Fala, you will not do this to us again. And so what I'm trying to say to you is that you can't be, until change comes, you can't be tired. You can't, the only thing you should be tired of, you should be tired of being poor. You should be tired of being hungry. You should be tired of burying your children from preventable diseases. Those are the things you need to be tired of. But protests, how do you get tired? How do you get tired?
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Let me reintroduce our partners here. And I like our small group today because we can have the time to actually delineate and delve into the issue. With me is our host, Michael Padmore, doing a great job. Mr. Towell from Houston, and our brother from across the pond. I don't know if it's a pond, the ocean, London, Great Britain. These are people that have made a commitment to be here every Sunday. Whether we have 5 person or 1 person watching, we will be here waiting for you to give you the information as they come. Dr. Booty, let's go to number 2 on here. This one, Mr. Patton was talking about protesting. We are all talking about somebody has to stand up when things are not going right. Even like the folks said, if you are willing to tell the truth, you should be willing to stand alone. This young man saw something going on in government that he fought hard to bring. Mr. Yamplu. Yamplu said, this government, he is tired of the government that he brought to power, and he delineated the embarrassment from the Ghanaian bus saga. Brought buses to Liberia, went by the executive mansion, took photographs. We got buses coming and everybody cheering, and it turned out that it was as flawed and fake as it could be. Then they turned around, they brought a yellow machine thing, 285 yellow machines coming to the country. Every county going to have 19 machines, and roads going to be developed everywhere. In fact, the president said, Liberia, it will not cost you a dime. A friend of mine who have interest in what I do, my international contact, we just shook hands, and it was done. Turned out to be another fraud. So we are going after government program after government program after government program. My own friend and sister, I don't know her personally, but I call her that because I was advocating for her. We found out there was a young lady by the name of Dr. Yanati Beslow Yanati was going to be the foreign minister, and we were all cheering her on, only to find out that somebody came and said, that woman is a fraud. She's as fake as she can come. And people say, oh, that's why we always do with women, want to denigrate women, this and that. And here we are. This week, this woman went on national TV and called a press conference that the Republic of Liberia has secured $25 million US for 250 Liberian students to go abroad to the United States. And they will get a graduate degree in STEM. Not only will they get a degree from 1 to 2 years, but that she will make sure that they get a job for the next 3 years in the United States to get experience. Then they will come back to Liberia and they will be hired into the system. The government also has $650,000 that is a grant to the students. It turned out the whole thing was a scam. There's something about Ghana. The woman went to Ghana. She brought some woman. The lady said she's from somewhere called, is that MedTech or something? Another tech again. The lady said, this is not a loan. This is not a grant. Liberian will pay $2,500 to go to the seminar. And then when you finish the seminar, we will write it off. Then you're going to write $365 as application fee. And this young man said he went to the meeting, an office staff meeting. He told them, this thing doesn't look good. We shouldn't put it out there. It doesn't. He said, I was on the scholarship in the United States. This is not how it works. Nobody can speak for a university. You have to apply. You have to be qualified. You got to meet all the requirements. Then you go to the U.S. Embassy. Even with your I-24, the U.S. Embassy can still deny you visa. He said, so no government can guarantee. He said he wrote it. He spoke to his boss. He spoke to his immediate boss. He spoke to his supervisor, spoke to the minister proper, and said, this is embarrassing. Don't do it. They turned around and brought the president of the Republic of Liberia in the public glare, and he reading something. I don't know why he was reading, because I listened for 10 minutes, couldn't understand a word Joseph Waka was saying. And they announced this, and the young man said, I've had enough. I'm going to go to the public. And he wrote on his Facebook page that this was a scam of the greatest proportion, and he did not want to be a part of it. And because of that, they fired him. They said he did not follow the proper chain of command. He was not supposed to speak. He wouldn't say anything. So he was, Joseph Waka said, he is suspended indefinitely. They didn't fire him. For now on till you leave, you got no job, but you are not fired. Mr. Padmore,
No,
Dr. Booty, there you go. Here you are. You guys understand diplomacy. I ain't firing you, but you don't have a job for the rest of your life.
Yeah, you got the
Dr. Booty.
These are the times that I miss Valley K, aka Ali Kamal, because I was saying you were going to ask you what the question is now. What the question? No, but look, and this, and I'm not trying to take on.
No, but you got to tell us whether Is this where between some of them are saying this is freedom of speech. Some people say he should be protected because of the whistleblower. Under the Whistleblower Act, he has to be protected because he's telling you this is harming the nation.
Well, all right. I think maybe you might not no, but the point I want to make before I come and answer the question is that this is an example, right? When we say to Mr. Towell that people need to stand up, this is an example of it. All right, this is an example of how a person can stand up to say, look, this is not right. Even though I'm a part of the system, even though this is the government that we brought in, and when you were laying the foundation, I was sitting here and thinking to myself, I didn't know that Joseph Parker Papier that scam all of this. So, the 419 and the oil. So I honestly did it because you see the Papier just quiet die. He just moving. He said, no, the Papier, but it's like, what kind of, because he came with this asset recovery scam. It didn't work. That one cash. Oh, he came with another scam. Say, oh, he has the right to suspend people. A legal advisor say, oh, yeah, he can sack anybody. They went to the Supreme Court to bounce them. Boom. He said, okay, but then almost everything. He came with yellow machine. He came with like, it's tough. I'm sitting there and thinking, no, they probably it ain't a slow walking thing. If he teasing, then behind the scene he doing some clang thing and that we ain't sure about. We gotta keep our one eye on the puppy because before he did it, but look, the reason why I don't think he can be protected under the whistleblower scheme or act or law or whatever is because to be a whistleblower you have to do it confidentially. You have to make the complaint or expose the thing, because the protection is to protect your identity, is to protect you from prosecution. But when you yourself you come out, you already say the thing, you expose your own identity, then it's difficult for us, the law, to protect that identity anymore. Notwithstanding that, look, I believe that again, when I mentioned earlier about the president showing his hand by writing to the clerk of the national legislature, about the House of Representatives, this is another example of the president showing his hand. Here is a young man who supported you to get to power. He is now saying, look, this thing, I try to talk to people and people are not willing to listen. I'm telling you guys, this thing is wrong. You're not supposed to do that kind of thing. You didn't listen. I had no choice but to come out and tell the public, because or else these things will blow up in our face. Instead of calling this young man to one side and say, okay, look, what was it that you were trying to tell people that they weren't listening to? Tell me. And then listen to his story and then investigate what is going on. You are now showing your hand to the Liberian people and the world by suspending him, clearly indicating that, look, anybody who wants to talk the truth, they're not in the government, you come into your true talking here, because when you do it here, we'll suspend you indefinitely or we'll fire you, right? Because at the end of the day, it's clear that the president is not interested in truth. It's clear that the president is not interested in what's best for the Liberian people. It's clear by doing this that the president is not interested in those 50-something% of the Liberian population that voted for him. All he cares about is whatever he's doing, enriching himself, enriching the people around him, his group of cronies, making sure that the Liberian people will remain destitute and even go further down into poverty. So the level of poverty that he met in he'll push him down small before he moved from there. Because clearly, as a lead, look, Mr. Gamer, you are a leader in your company. Thankfully, Mr. Patmo, Mr. Towell, all leaders in the companies that you guys work in. If an employee has tried every protocol that is available to get something done and is failing to do so, and they go ahead and say, look, this is so bad, I have to speak out, you do not suspend them. You call the person, you institute a committee to investigate. Okay, but why did the protocols fail? Why was this guy trying to communicate these things and he wasn't allowed to do it? Let's make sure we change the process so that he doesn't have to go out to the public anymore, so that he can then have a way of coming inside and telling us the truth and telling us what we need to do to save Liberian people money, to save the government face, instead of suspending the man. That's how most organizations will operate. You would learn from the error, because the error here is not that this young man was brave enough to come and tell the public what is going on. That's not the error. The error is this government is unwilling to learn from why the processes didn't work. And that is what they're supposed to be focusing on. But again, like I said, the president is clear. Look, this president is important. from the start. From the LT, the one thing that can really pay me is that LTA thing. From that LTA situation, the president became emboldened. He realized that he's capable of doing whatever he wants to do. The idiots that we have at the legislature who are supposed to be putting a check on him and not doing it, they're running around talking nonsense about majority this and this and that. They are supposed to be the ones putting check, because these are the kind of things in the country you live in now. Congress will call the department head straight. The minister of that ministry say, hey, you got question to answer. Why did this thing happen? Can you tell us why this thing is this? Is this a scam? They will ask the tough questions. That is the job of the House of Representatives. But no, we've got a bunch. And look, like Mr. Patmo said, and for me, like I said, I come here and I learn. Because I was calling them idiots, and I ain't calling them idiots, but he's clearly stating, and I agree, when you start to think about the composition of the House of Representatives, most of those guys are educated. Most of them are clever enough to be able to Google if they don't know what the legislature. Because every time we talk about the Constitution, I Google, I can go on here, I read the Constitution, what the Constitution say I can do, what the Constitution says to do. These guys are learned enough to know what they're supposed to be doing. So the fact that they're choosing not to do it is not because they're stupid. It's because they know what they're doing. They know that Liberian people will not stand up to them. And even what this guy has done by sacrificing himself, Liberian people, yeah. In fact, somebody don't say, yeah, but and he won't Jordan, why are you doing that kind of thing? And did. So for me, look, he's done the right thing. It's an example of how people can stand up to this government, but the president is emboldened that he can break the law and nobody would do anything.
Thank you. Mr. Tower, here we are. Is he a whistleblower? Does he deserve the protection of whistleblower protection? If he's not whistleblowing and he's speaking his mind, is he protected by the Constitution?
Okay. So in the first place, this guy did something like what I would do if I was in that position. So he did that. And I think when he was doing that, he knew that there was a chance for him to lose his job. For me, I see it here in two ways. He will win some moral support, and in the open and in the public, both in Liberia, domestic and out of the country, globally, if they pay attention, they will see that he distinguished himself, right? But he was hired by the executive. So if they feel that their process that he should have followed, and they can say that he did not satisfy everything and they fire him, I think now he can go to court. If the judiciary were working, but it's not working, I think they can be in a position to fire him. Elon Musk hired Don something. What is that? Don Lemon. And then they decided to have an interview. And in that interview, he started putting on the spot, saying things that he felt were disrespectful, and he fired him. Canceled the whole contract. Now, Don Lemon could go to court. I mean, it's a private area, right? But look, this is the point that I want to make, though. So that's one thing. He did actually what he should have done, and everybody else in the government. Dr. Booty is saying that this is an example, but that is not the example that you are pointing when you say the Liberian people, because these are people that serve in the government. Yes, they should hold that moral. The interest of Liberia should be more than anything else. But the public that you're talking about, my brother, that public is beat down. They can't do anything. People wake up in the morning, they are hungry. They don't have, there is no real clear authority on what they can really do to these guys. Then let me come to the point. These so-called lawmakers, or the executive or the judiciary, none of these people, the way the system is set, you made an example for the United States. I've been here long. I follow it. A whole bunch of it is from, they call him, they ask all the tough questions, like they beat him down, and then nothing happened. That is why the country itself is very corrupt when it comes to that. Okay? Mike Zuckerberg don't go do something. Little boys are running the government. They were caught in the ask but guess what? They sponsor more than half of the guys. That is why I'm telling you, The system is corrupt. The same people that are supposed to be held responsible fund the people on their campaigns to come to power. But look at the point I want to really make here. You made a point that the guys in that they're well learned, they're educated, and they know wrong from right and all of this stuff. I would want to say it depends on what you define education to be, because education is not just, it's not merely about going to school and getting some kind of degree. That is not what it is. Because if you were cultivated within your own cultural context, what we call on an African-centered education, what it does, your entire consciousness work to protect the interest of the African people no matter what. If you were educated, which is the indoctrination, you apply the application of your education doesn't really go in the interest of those people. You can say yeah, one or two here, but generally it doesn't. This is the reality, especially if you find yourself in a policy making position to actually drive. You can come here as a technocrat. They can put you for you to make LEC better if you can within the framework. But look, these guys are sitting at the executive, the legislature. These guys, it's not that they don't know that they can what they need to do, but what is the penalty if they don't do the right thing? Nothing happens. If the executive want to send a bill, they block it. Oh, okay, so they put in here, oh, 5 million, and we're getting here. So you know what? We send it back. Unless you give us 3 million, then you can take. That is what they're doing. Yes, somebody said that it has always been there, but it was not like this. Even at every level, it was Ellen that actually really entrenched the stuff. So look, when I make this point, you say, oh, don't go back and blame nobody. Dr. Booty, the structure of the structural foundation on which your life stands from the past determine who you are now. Let me tell you, the future is incomplete. The present doesn't exist. The only thing that exists is the past. The past is your history. It is what you reflect on for it to guide you into the future. If what you are looking up to guide you, if it is wrong, if it was deficient, if it was unequal, it affect how, yes, this is the reality. So I'm not saying it for me to blame anybody. You see, we have to be honest to say, look, because if we start to look at it that way and say, look, you know what? Yeah, the way this thing was set up, it was not so right. Let us try to see, okay, what can we change? What can we make better? What is in it that can work or it's not working for? We are trying. Let's make some adjustment. That is how you approach something at least. But you just want to say, no, cancel it. Let's just keep going. No, you can't. You learn how to talk when? In the past. Everything you know is in the past. You did that in the past. That is what you draw on for you to not have this discussion. So let us not just say, it's not about blaming anybody. We are here for us to discuss Liberia's issue, for us to see what, because we have a foundational problem. It is not about blaming anybody. It is not about blaming Congo, blaming country. When the country book, when the other country book, you know what did they do? The same system they fought against, instead of trying to change it, they sat there and they tried to continue the same system. And so what happened? It gave you the same outcome.
Great. Thank you.
30 seconds. No, 30 seconds, Mr. Gavin. Because I think Mr. Tao misunderstand. Look, you clearly blame the Congo people, right? And you know me from all of the days I've been on this show. I do not whitewash Americo-Liberian rule in Liberia up until 1980. It was horrible for most indigenous Liberians, right? It was horrible. But let me give you another example. When the British or whomever or the French left Rwanda, they put the Tutsis in power, right? The Tutsis were the aristocrats. Those were the guys who they put in power, the smaller group. The British put them in power. These guys basically led the country in a very divisive way, right? Until they were overthrown by the Hutus, right? Now, what's his name? The tall president then, Kagame, is a Tutsi. Yeah, Kagame is a Tutsi. When they overthrew when he came and overthrew the Hutus after they killed all those millions of Tutsis in the country, he had a choice. He had a choice. He could have gone back to the old system where the Tutsis becomes the aristocrats and the ones that run in the country, excluding the Hutus, which brought them to the place in the first place. I mean, to the where they were in the first place. But he chose a different path. He chose a path of unity. 1 minute,
That's
1 minute.
the point I'm making.
Let me make my point. I didn't interrupt you. I'll let you land. Let me make my point. He chose a different path. My point is not the same point you're making. My point is we cannot blame the structure that was put in place. We ended that structure in 1980. We put in a new structure. We then came and broke the 1980 structure and put the 1990 structure in place. You cannot keep going back to the structures that were, look, yes, there are parts of our country that is still influenced by American-Liberian roots, slightly negatively. But we cannot keep going back and blame it. We've had enough years to take a different track. Rwanda has had 20-something, 30 years, and they've taken a very positive track, a united track, a track that is working for all. We are taking a country to a track that even the American Liberians didn't even take us to. The track we own, I don't even know how they call that track. They got an uncontrolled track, country track, some kind of other track they own, right? So whatever track they own has nothing to do with what happened before 1980. It has everything to do with a bunch of guys who are selfish, right? Cares only about themselves and believe they can do it with impunity, and Liberian people will not do nothing to them. That ain't got nothing to do with Congo people. That's my point. Right? There's a trajectory we could have taken. We didn't take it.
Yeah, that point is missed now because what you said is not true. No track was broken. The same governing structure, the same judiciary structure, the same legislature, everything that was set up by the Congo people that were pretty much brought and superimposed. It's the same thing the guys that came to power in 1990 didn't change, 1980 didn't change anything. They just continue with it. So you made a point that Paul Kagame
we got a new constitution in 1985. A new constitution.
Have you looked at both of the constitution? It's the same.
Mr. Tao, thank you. Mr. Padua, here we are. This young man now who is speaking out.
Yes.
Who is he? Where will you place him? Is he a whistleblower? Is he a freedom fighter by speaking his mind? Is the government right by saying, listen, you can't work in the government, you can't be riding on our banter and say on our aunt's thing, so you gotta go?
Okay, so I'm gonna give a very surprising answer here. Yeah? It's me, I'm myself gonna find him. I'm myself gonna find him. He deviated from protocol. He left the soap bush and killed Osa.
And undressed the devil.
Yeah. He brought the devil. Yes. You can't do that. You cannot do that. Now, was his superior supposed to listen to him? Yes. Were they supposed to take action? Yes. But he made his bed with Unity Party. This is not a first time. Matthew Yemplu did not join the government last week. Matthew Yemplu was there with a 285 machine. He was there giving excuses. He was there with the 300 buses. He was there when we brought up the complaint about the Sylvester Graceby there, writing a letter to NOCAL, to NASCOP, asking for $500,000 to buy vehicles. He was there when the president was buying bulletproof vest. He was there. This is United Party. This is who they are. So, if I were United Party, I would find him. That collateral damage. He now whistleblower. He now eyeball witness. He now anything you want to call him. He now freedom fighter. He now freedom fighter. You know, he's not. We knew what United Party were coming with. At least some of us knew. You know, they covered this up, and then it took power. And then, in the middle of the night, he grew a conscience. You know, he grew a conscience. Resign. Then we'll see what kind of man you made up of. You know, apparently he was a journalist. He worked with Prime FM. But all the time he worked with Prime FM, he was anti-WIA. He was pro-unity party. He did everything. He ran the propaganda. He part of the party structure. You know. Then we reach the plan and then you want to outside. We have this up. We can't outside. I will fire you. And what you thought was going to happen? You thought I was going to welcome him by open arms? I beg you, man. It's where once you leave the village, you come outside. You talk. You want to talk. You go by there. You nothing to do. The eye looking. You know. But I want to mention something here that Mr. Tao said. Look, multi-party democracy was introduced into our elections. It wasn't there before. That was something new that we deviated from. So it wasn't the same structure that somebody that talk their brought say, hey, we do the same thing. But I want to point to the reason why our governance structure is so unique is because there is a clause in there. Okay? And people think the most unique clause in our government is, oh, we the people, or power is inherent in the people. That is not the most important clause in the government. Look, in the Constitution, the most important clause in the Constitution is the one that gives the people the power to change. We can change. Anything that ain't working, we can go there and change it. We can say who won it won. Oh, President says yes, we want it. We want to go by the 4 years. We can change it. Legislature paying themselves, we want it. They'll change it. We can change. That is the uniqueness of our Constitution. Failure to change it is where the problem lies. And the people have to insist on change. If the people insist on change, change will come.
Mr. Tao.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Tao. Let's look at the logic here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Tao talked about
Dr. Booty.
Excuse me, Dr. Booty. Dr. Booty talked about Paul Kagame coming. He talked about maybe to some extent Jerry Rawlings. He talks about to some extent Thomas Sankara. These are folks that came and said the system that we have here, even though the British brought it, the French brought it, the Portuguese brought it, whatever brought it, it is not working for us. I am in control now. I'm going to set a new directory. When we talk about Thomas Sankara, even to the detriment of his own life, but the foundation he set today, that everybody out of Burkina Faso calling themselves a land of the outright people.
Yeah.
They have embraced that they will all be upright. And they are doing the best they can. Paul Kagame, Jerry Rawlings did it in Ghana. Ghana, Mr. Palmer will tell you, they used to come to shop in Liberia for eggs, for toilet paper, for all of that.
For flour.
For flour.
Mm-hmm.
For me, because I was in Basel, the Basel flour mill there. So if all of these people can change the system, you are saying the foundation is rotten. So what's wrong with us that we cannot change something that we know is wrong? Why isn't it? We can't change it, but we're blaming everybody else for not changing it for us.
Okay. What happened in the first place?
And what can we change it to, Mr. Tao? You can tell to the what system can we adopt?
You don't tell that question. Don't answer that question.
Go ahead, Mr. Tao.
So look at what happened here. In the first place, a multi-party democracy is the greatest scam that the West have imposed on Africa. In America, they don't have multi-party democracy. In Britain, all the places that are stable, what multi-party democracy does is split up the country and create too much division. In America, they have the Communist Party, they have the Labor Party, the Green, all this one. They don't even allow them on those ballots. Only on a smaller level, because they know that if they allow that in this country, it can tear this country apart. So that was one of the, yes, you're shaking your head. I'm here, I follow France. The Britain that you're in there, Britain is a one-party state with just two names. America is a one-party state.
Mr. Tao, without one, I will interrupt you. You lying.
Okay.
Okay.
You got
So it is
you
not
got
what they say.
you got
Labor
labor and conservative.
Yeah, labor and it's two of them, but two of them sponsored by the same people. So
It's more
they
than
choose.
that.
They choose.
Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Okay,
Mr.
Go ahead,
listen,
Mr. Town. Go ahead, Mr. Town.
listen now.
All right.
Okay, so in America they have what fasted. They even have Communist Party here in America. But what happened? They don't allow them in the ballot because they don't even get sponsored. They don't even get up to the level. It is only in Africa that the moment somebody register a party, look at the rest of the world. Look at the rest of the world where there is stability, and you see the so-called multi-party system there. My brother, doesn't exist because it's divisive, it is corrupt. So yes, the one-party system that the American Liberian had in place, it is just that they did not allow other people to participate freely. But that creates stability. Look at China, look at Russia, look at or the Britain you're talking about, look at the United States, look at France. All these people, they are pretty much almost one-party state. That is the only thing that creates stability. But look, Mr. Gaiman, to your point, we are not blaming anybody. The reason for which it cannot change is the same stuff that we are having here. Every time I come here and I say, can we look at this stuff that they gave us that we are practicing? Look, any group of people that are actually thinking and trying to want to progress will know for a fact that the people that enslave you, the people that colonize you, the people who have decided that your resources that were given to you in your land, it belongs to them, and they will take it anyhow at this point of destabilizing you. They will never give you a system that is support that will work for you. Look, they are certain that this system will never work to where they sit there. Since 2005, the USAID, which is a part of the U.S. State Department, fund, manage, sponsor, and count your election results.
They don't count the results.
Yeah. They provide the database and everything that's counting it. That's counting it. They provide everything. And this is supposed to, so you're talking about sovereignty. Where's the sovereignty? If there is sovereignty, that is your most sovereign stuff. Okay? So why aren't they putting this effort into building an iron fighter plane for you? Look, there is something called the European constant. There are a lot of things, but this is one of them. In spite of all the apparent changes, certain things stay the same. Look at the world that we live in today. The relationship of the West and Asia and other people have changed over time. Look at the relationship of the West and Africa. Africa is so important to their very existence that losing Africa's tenure to even make a decision on its own, to self-determine, to put a system in place that works for itself, to manage its own resources will collapse. The West so fast because they have decided that they're not going to pay for anything. They're going to take it by force to the point where the relationship between them and Africa have been maintained for hundreds of years, and they don't have any intention of changing that. And when other powers are emerging and they're engaging you, because the reason I'm saying this for a purpose, for a reason. Oh, look, why is the president going to China? Or why are we talking to Russia? They're fighting war in Ukraine. Russia is supposed to be on a sanction. You are in England. All the English all come to beat. They're still buying oil from Russia. But they will tell us if we are in the dark, if we're able to get oil from. No, you are not allowed to do that. The West and all their big businesses are in China trading. But the moment we want to trade with China, no, you can't do that.
Mr. Tao, what does that have to do with building a hospital in Green G?
Oh, no. Look at what happened now. Yeah, hello?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead.
Hello?
I can hear you.
Oh, no. Look at what happened here. I'm not disputing the fact that the guys that are in power, they're corrupt. There are a lot of things that they can actually do, even in spite of the West influence.
Thank you.
There is a lot of money in our country. I know that fact.
Thank you.
So I'm not trying to say because of the West influence that they can build hospitals, that they can build highways. They can actually work on those.
Okay.
But if the system is set up to where they're able to do this thing with impunity, without punishment, They don't see the obligation. So the system, okay. So this is what we find ourselves. But look, to address one last thing that Dr. Booty said. Look, my brother, election democracy is a business. You hear about yellow machine, right? You hear about $25 million scholarship funds, right? You hear about buying armor car, right? What you don't know, look behind it closely. People who finance this presidency, they pay them back in different ways. A whole bunch of the stuff. That is why when that young man spoke on it, how dare he's paying back his financiers in ways, and then you come in here and you're trying to talk. So the president come in, you think he's trying to want to listen to whether the guy is telling the truth. They're paying back their investors. If the Labrampo scream that they can't get Wodogisi, guess what? They're going to pay them back in another way. This is what I'm talking about. If you have your people that are supposed to represent you, they've been funded and financed by people just to run in an election. So there is a problem with that kind of system.
Thank you.
Let me correct Mr. Tao quickly, because first of all, I'll rephrase my statement. You didn't lie. You didn't provide the truth entirely, because we have 13. We have 13.
The politics.
No, because you lie sounds very strong. So what you said was not entirely truthful. So let's put it the diplomatic way, right? You said there was one party system in the UK. In the UK, there are 13 political parties, and each of them has at least one member in parliament, right? So at the end of the day, there are two big parties, well, three actually: the Liberal Democrats, the Labour Party, and the Conservatives. So three big parties. You can add Reform to that. You can add the Scottish National Party to that as well. Those are other big parties. Unfortunately, if you take your message to the people and they put in by it, they will not vote for you. If they prefer Labour message or they prefer Conservative message, that's what they'll vote for. So you can't say, oh, because the two parties are the biggest and they've been existing for so long, so it's not multi-party. 13 political parties in the UK. All of them have at least one member.
Who fund them? How are they funded?
Members.
No,
I support the Labour Party. I pay membership fee to the Labour Party. Sorry?
It's not just members.
No. You get donation. No, but you say who fund them? I'm giving you the majority of the Labour Party. Mr. Tao, you don't live in the UK now. You're asking a question about a country that you don't.
No, I don't have to live there. I studied the UK. It is not what you.
Living there, they say he's still in the UK.
No, he living there. He following. He drinking the Kool-Aid also.
Oh, come on, man! What
in the US?
In
the US to run almost $2 billion just for you to run.
What did the money that come from East Space?
Huh?
The money that come from East Space? The money come from human being.
Yeah.
No, but first of all, let me just say this. First of all, the UK system is a parliamentary system, right? The UK system is a parliamentary system. We don't have a presidential system. It's a parliamentary. So each district vote for their legislator. The party with the biggest number of legislators then become the leading party. So we don't vote national election. We vote locally. So I only vote for my district elector, my legislator in my district. I don't vote for the prime minister. I vote for the person, the leader of the party that has the most members, then becomes prime minister. So I don't vote for the prime minister. I vote for my district. Each district has, when I go, my ballot paper is this long. Every party is on there. I choose the one that I want. I don't vote for the other 12. I vote for the one that I like. So you can't tell me, oh no, I like politics. I don't just listen or study Liberian politics. I study US politics. I study British politics. It's just an interest. I love politics as an interest. In Germany, there's multi-party system. In Holland, there's multi-party system. In Spain, in Portugal, in Italy, multi-party system. And these are stable countries as well. Right? So how can you then say, oh, all the countries that are stable or they are one party or that two? Then Mr. Tao, man, please. In fact, I'll go back to what I said earlier. You lie. I'll go back to the you lie.
I think Mr. Tao got a point. We're going to come back to that, but let's take our first caller here. Caller, your name and where you calling from?
Hello to you, Mr. Gilman and the panelists. This is Elvis calling from Minnesota.
I thought they were taking a break.
Go ahead.
Hey, I'm on an extended break. I'm not, on the show, but I want to go on the chart.
Go ahead.
Look, hello to you again, the panelists. Mr. Taiwo, I hear everything you're saying. 10 years ago, everything that you're saying would be applicable, and we would listen to it. And some of us share your sentiments, but like Mr. Booty, Dr. Booty, and Mr. Padmo was saying, the native boys have been in power for the longest now. You know, we can cry and complain about the Congo people, you know, that they didn't give you the education or the experience to be able to take over the helm of government after the coup. And in the immediate, aftermath of the coup, those things were true. But we've had people who went to university in the West that came back to, to rule Liberia. We had people who went to school in Liberia and have some level of education that should know better and know how to rule and know how to govern, and we still haven't figured it out. We have a president who has been through several governments over decades and has seen how things were done, even under the True Party, and he's not able to fully, competently run a government. So I think the argument is moot at this point, because the reality is we don't seem to know, or we may know how to govern, but we don't seem to have the will to govern appropriately. So all of the issues in Liberia now is on the heads of the native boys. And when we're talking about political institutions, I had somebody on another show that I was on talking about how the IMF choose our presidents, that, the World Bank choose our government. Which I tell them, they can put their thumb on the scale, but they don't pick. We vote. These people don't go against our vote and elect people, and select people to be our presidents. We vote. And this correlates with the low IQ of what they say. I was talking about it on the other show. People are getting mad at me. Liberia is the second, lowest IQ country in the entire world. That means that we don't follow patterns. We do the same thing. Why do you think Ms. King, you can't keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result? Because it means you're crazy, you're even stupid. Because if you keep doing the same thing, hoping for a different result, and you don't see the patterns that it leads to one result, and you keep doing it, you're going to get the same failed result. That's why he came up with that slogan, because as a smart man, he realized that we as Liberians, the electorate, we vote the same way all the time, and we expect miracles to happen when we elect mediocre leaders who don't perform to the level that we pray for, and we hope that miracle will happen. So for me, I think it's our fault. That's why I think that this is one of the reasons I'm taking a break from Liberian politics. I listen to you guys, I enjoy the show, but I can't sit down for 2 hours on my boy Sour talking about nonsense that Liberian people themselves in the country who's suffering, they're able to stand up for themselves and do anything for their own future. I'm just tired of it. That fire has been, it's dying in me when it comes to Liberian politics, because nothing is changing. Actually, things are getting worse. We thought things would get better under this president, but things are actually getting worse. What's the hope? There's almost no hope. So I just want to call in and give you my 2 cents, but thank you for taking my call, Mr. Gilman. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Towell.
Yeah, I think everybody's trying to misconstrue this whole stuff. My brother, the truth is that the foundation. Yeah, hello?
Yes, go ahead. We listen to you.
Yeah, hello?
We can hear you.
The truth here is that the foundation that the country was set on is wrong. The foundation is wrong. That's one. And look, Elvis saying that he was on the show, that somebody said that the IMF and the World Bank choose our president. And and they think that, look at how they choose presidents. It's not whether, you would want voted for this person. But remember, there is funding involved. So they fund the people that they know are going to propagate their agenda. So those people then have the most resources to come to the fore. These are the people that they promote in international circle. They're inviting, they're doing this and all of this stuff. So this is how they choose your leaders. So then they have 5 guys that they've already pretty much promoted, funded. Then the 5 guys are in front of you, and you choose one of them. That's how they choose your leaders. Look at what happened 2005 when Ellen came directly from so-called wherever she came from, IMF or World Bank. She was funded the most, even though I want to strongly believe that we have won that election based even with her funding on popularity. But guess what? They still raked her in. When she did so badly with all the corruption, and she could have easily lost the second round. What did they do? They started influencing by giving her a Nobel Prize. But there's the same lady who was accused and pretty much put into the so-called how you call that document? The peace, the TRC document that she should be banned because of all of the things that she was connected to. This was available there. This is something that the U.S. sponsored. And this was the same so-called jury that they pay to say this lady here, this is all that she did. She was the mother of this revolution, up to the point where she was sitting in Nigeria. Go ahead and read the WikiLeaks cable on Liberia, read it. She was sitting in Nigeria when they were forming Lord and all these places and stuff, and she was with them, with the Damate and all these people. All this stuff was there. But guess what? When they saw that she had given them a lot, and they gave her Nobel Peace Prize. For what? This is how they choose your leaders. Because their influence is based on when they take a decision, it propagates amongst the people. And she's funded. So it's not that they want to physically pick the person.
Great, guys.
Yeah,
great.
no, because at the end of the day, that can be true for 2005, but it can't be true for 2017 and 2023. 2023
Listen, guys. Let's go to the third part here. Mr. Booty, Dr. Booty, we're talking about law and order here. The Republic of Liberia arrested a fugitive in the middle of the night. No due process turned the man over to those that were hunting him, and most likely they say he may have been murdered. Before you get to that, let me hear this caller. Sir, where you calling from and your name? Okay. Mr. Booty, Dr. Booty, Mr. Victor Nambe is on the phone. You have any contribution to make to the show? Okay, hold on 1 minute. Hold on 1 minute. Your name and where you calling from, sir?
Hey guys, this is Jay Victor. I'm calling you from Atlanta City, and great show so far. I'm following the show. So first of all, let me dispel that I am not committed to this show. I am an ardent follower and committed participant on the show, but I can't come on the show. Mr. Gibbon refuses to send me the link. But having said that, great show, I have to really register my disappointment with Mr. Tao. You know, this guy, I don't know what, is it that he's pushing here. You know, he's employing all the war salaries and weaving and all of it. One moment, he tells us the progressives are responsible for everything that is wrong with this country since 1980. But Ellen Johnson Sirleaf is not a native person, and he knows that. Charles Taylor does not consider himself a native person. He knows that. Well, I got news for you. If the progressives had not come to sacrifice blood, sweat, and tears, you won't have a peaceful transfer of power as you have enjoyed over the past two administrations. For over 100 years, that was unheard of. So, I want you to give a little bit of credit to the progressive movement. We federalize this democracy that is budding today that you are enjoying. That you are able to sit on TV and criticize a government in power and go to sleep and nobody comes knocking on your window. Before 1980, we couldn't do that, no matter what part of the world you were. So, great show. I really enjoy the topics. You guys are doing great. Thank you very much, and have a great evening.
Thank you. Let's go to the last part here. Dr. Booty, in any democracy or anywhere in the world, the rule of law, our jurisprudence, the rule of law, the processes that we call the judicial process. In Liberia today, we thought 6 years ago, we thought we were making progress. 2006, we thought we were making progress. People could curse Ellen Johnson, you do whatever you want to do. You could call Joe Weah, you do whatever you want to do. You would never, I've never heard on Ellen Johnson Sirleaf that a person was apprehended and 4 o'clock in the morning, the police chief and the justice minister went into the prison and grabbed the person without due process of law. They became the judge, the jury, and the executioner. And the president of the nation have not spoken. I think one time Mr. Morris said, Joseph Walker behaved as a mafia don. He sits in the back and behaves as though he knows nothing, but he's determined who to whack. If you're from the New York area, you know when the mafia day, they will whack you. He determined who kneecaps that needs to come off, who needs to have a cement on their foot, and who needs to live. A young man has disappeared from the prison system, and the courts are saying they should produce the living body of the gentleman, Dr. Booty.
Thank you, Mr. Gavin. I think, look, I'm glad that we're talking about this because it's something I've been pondering over for the past few days, and it's scaring. It's worrying when you listen to what is going on. If there's a caller, I'm happy to pause my thought and let you bring them on, and I can come after.
1 minute. Your name and where you calling from?
So I'm calling from Fargo, North Dakota. This is Senator Lion Yankum.
Go ahead.
I'm calling from Fargo. Yes, it's high time. You are the advocates. We the advocates. We're advocating for a lot of stuff unfolding in our country. So concerned our country. We're in the 21st century. We talk. So it's high time we really motivate the people on ground. We do one time for the Liberians in general, not for the political party. We need the people to take the street and shut the government down. We need a new government that will take place, government of the people. So that you're the professions in it as far as so sad. A lot of my professional brothers around the world expertise to really put the idea together. But because of system, and I think Mr. Tao been saying some stuff very important, but Liberians will play our blind ears to some of these things. I applaud you. You see in the world, the people that rule the world today, from a lot of information, the Rothschilds, all these people, they always have representation in every nation, more especially the third world nations. Our central banks that control us. They've been for centuries, been for so long, to the present time. Past few years back, we had a lady, I personally, Teddy Lion Yanko, had a page called the Teddy Lion page. That page of heart. I wrote articles on a lot of these things before. I said this to some of our chosen ones. We got spiritual gift. We see things from distance, we talk about it and come to reality in our time. So, oh, really? Any have been a lady, it's just been clear that represented those agendas to control our country, initiate the lawmakers to be taking all this money, the brown envelopes, you know what I'm saying? Stuff. It's just to pull the people back, the poor nation back, not for the benefits for us. She did those things, put it into us to affect us today and affect us. So we should look at all these things. These things are real. It's a point for real. But we play deaf ears to these things, but we will not be too conscious. We have to wake up, people. It's not just for Liberia. It's talking about the world. It's talking about us to march on this world today, to be represented. We are falling back. The African continent is falling back. The Liberians, we see our young people having all the young people, but we don't have integration for them. It's sad. It's very sad.
It's very sad to every good Liberians who grieve on this thing in our personal corners for the betterment of Liberia. But we should know who there for us. But however, because of jealousy, chronic jealousy, no one will say President Weah was not somebody, he's a gospel man or whistle Jesus. But President Weah, he did well for the Liberian people rather than what you guys see today. We saw this thing, we talk about it, the people still make sure what the Liberians are there, if no time by some demonic force, makes the Joseph Boakai the bigger president of Liberia today. Even no one president we are, no one else to take. That was something that was manifested in the spiritual realm. I want to believe.
Thank you.
Demonic forces are taking over Liberia because Liberians, we are not appreciative to ourselves, to certain people in our midst. I'm a Southeasterner, but today my people are crucified day and day, the poor people. But remember, we always sing and cry for peace for Liberia, for time more for this country. But our people are prosecuted. Let me tell you a little bit of when they say travel today. But they always put mouth on the Southeastern people, the crew people. What a hit! We know our man, President Weah was now the law of gospel, but at least he had a heart for Liberians. We have people that also surrounding him that help to make him feel. We all understand all these things. But don't persecute him while he's not even president for your country again. You have to slow down. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yanko. Dr. Booty, the rule of law. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think this is something that every Liberian should be concerned about because it could be any of us, right? Because there are a couple of things. One, Liberia as a country is a signatory to the Geneva Convention, which means that when a refugee or someone fleeing persecution comes into our country, we have a duty under international law to protect them, right? That's first and foremost. Secondly, Article 20 of our Constitution says no person. It doesn't say no Liberian. It said no person. As in anybody that comes into the country, anybody who's living in our country, as long as you're on the Liberian soil, you're entitled to the same due process of the law, right? It doesn't say Liberians only. It says no person should be deprived without due process, right? So what of liberty, of life, of property, or whatever. So it will be interesting to see if the Liberian government can produce the body of this, the living body of Mr. Sharif. I pray to God that they do, because if he's been killed, because they've handed him over to the Guinean government without due process, that is a scary, scary situation for Liberia and Liberians. Because it's clear then that this government is willing to participate in extrajudicial activities, including when it comes to protecting lives and property. So I hope that he hasn't been sent back. I hope that it's just, maybe he's in the system somewhere, and because we ain't got computer system, so we ain't able to track him to see which jail he in. I pray to God that he's not there, because that would be very, very scary for some of us. Because basically what it means is that anyone could go missing at any time, and nothing can be done about it. And that is not the kind of country that we want to live. People who are fleeing prosecution in other countries should be able to come to Liberia, as we've always been a haven. We should protect them as long as the president has been afforded due process. If there is an extradition treaty between Liberia and Guinea, go through the courts. Get it. Let the man go to the court and plead his case for why he shouldn't be extradited back to Guinea. If he loses, you send him back. But at least then he's gone through that due process that the Constitution says he's entitled to. So I'm worried, and we're looking to see if they can produce his living body.
Thank you. Mr. Padmore.
Yes, let me update people here quick second, so at least we know exactly what happened. So this gentleman lived in Liberia. According to his lawyer, former Justice Ajane, he was actually born in Liberia. He was born in Liberia, of course, with a very strong Guinean background. During the war, he sought refuge in Guinea. And as he grew up as a young man, he wanted to get the advantages, just like how we all did, to get the advantages of where we lived. You know, he took on Guinean citizenship. He used his heritage to get Guinean citizenship. And when the war in Liberia cooled down and stuff happened, he moved to Liberia. And he's been living in Liberia as a Liberian. Liberia accepts dual citizenship. The Guinean government accused him of recruiting people to destabilize the Guinean military junta. And they contacted the Liberian government and they requested this man. The Liberian government arrested him somewhere on the Somalia Drive, what they call it, Japanese Highway, and took him to jail. His lawyer went to court to seek what was going on because they wanted to know. This man was brought before a judge in Liberia, and the government of Liberia presented their case that they had nothing to do with it. It was totally on the request of the Guinean government. And Liberian government, his lawyer pled his case. The Liberian judge, Roosevelt Willie, ruled that the man should be let out on bail while the Liberian government sought out all the things they wanted to see out. After that was ruled, the Liberian government refused to release him. Instead, they went to the prison, the Montreal prison, in the middle of the night, snuck the man out of there, and put him on a plane to Guinea. When the word got out that this had happened, his lawyer once more went back to the court and said, I went to the prison this morning. I can't find my client. It's been over 72 hours. Can you please issue a writ of habeas corpus so that the state of Liberia, the Liberian state, can present a living body? Because as far as he is concerned right now, the word that is coming from Guinea is that as soon as that man got in Guinea, they kill him right away. You are dealing with a military junta. They don't have a constitution. They don't have a rule of law. They strictly on military decree. So they're not sitting there waiting, talking about, you have a right to, a right to face the accuser. You have to have a right in court. No. So this is where the Liberian government is at right now. They went to court on Thursday. The Liberian state asked for 2 working days, which will be Tuesday. They're supposed to go back to court on Tuesday. And on Tuesday, they are supposed to provide the living body of Ibrahim Sharif, who his lawyer is stating is a Liberian citizen. Therefore, he should not have been turned over to the Guinean authorities. That's where we are at. So I think we're going to court, and then I can allow Mr. Tao there to give his...
But even if he wasn't a Liberian, even if he's a Guinean, we can't hand him over without due process. Right? The fact that he's a Liberian doesn't change the due process part of it.
No, that's not what he's saying. He's just laying the premise. Yeah,
No, but he's emphasizing the Liberian part of it, right?
That's part of the story, according to his lawyer.
It makes it a stronger case because if he's a Guinean citizen, right, then the Guinean government can ask for his extradition.
But it still has to go through the court.
He can fight. He can oppose the extradition. Then he'll have to go to court, and then a judge will decide.
Exactly. But that was not afforded. That wasn't afforded to him.
Liberian citizen. Then the Liberian government has a responsibility to protect not only him but his rights. And that means that you don't take him over to a military junta that has a military decree, because they cannot guarantee any of his rights will be accorded to him. So that's why I was just laying that out. But Mr. Tao, you have the floor, Chief.
Yes. Okay, so look at what happened here, Mr. Padmo. Thanks very much for laying this out. But you know, you made a point earlier, and I've been making the point, and my brother Namwe that called here want to soften that blow. But who are these guys that are doing these things, that are breaking all of the laws, that are in these governments? People from the diaspora. Because, and the reason I want to make this is that I'm not here accusing Congo people alone. I made this statement here before that the Congo people, my brother Mr. Eastman was here in one of the shows, like maybe 4 or 5 months ago, that the Congo people were in power in spite of all of the stuff that they were doing. If they stole and they ordered this stuff, yes, it would still belong to them, but they were developing factories and other stuff, right? But here are the country people children who travel. They are not the new Congo people, and they are worse because they have no more commitment to that country to go in. They just loot it, they run out. This is what we are seeing here, and this is why I'm very critical of the diaspora group, the Gregory Coleman, them that are doing this. So where are they from? The Fadi guy and all these guys that go in, they come from these communities here in the US. They go over there because what happened? Nobody's held responsible. Gregory Coleman was under the Ellen government. They did all kinds of stuff. What happened when they got out? They walk around. They came back here. They did their little day-boy job, and then they waited. And the moment Waka came to power, they're back there. They do anything. Nothing. They're not held responsible. And the point here is that they are not supposed to turn anybody over until they go through the court process, and the court gives specific instruction. They refuse to free this guy, right? But look, why? Whether they were Guinean or Liberian, but the fact that they're Liberian is even stronger because a Liberian citizen should have first right of protection, right? But didn't we witness this? How many on Ellen during Ellen time? How many Liberian was sent back overnight to the U.S. the moment the U.S. requested? It's the same thing. Yeah, we can say one is military junta and this one, but it's the same. Those governments, those guys don't care. They don't follow anything. They sent a bunch of overnight. They were on the plane. But when a dual citizen went to Liberian committee of crime or allegedly or accused, and there were evidence, and they came to the U.S., when the Liberian wanted that Liberian back, it was impossible. That is how Charles Taylor then did not go back when he was caught up into the $1 million stuff. They held him here until finally he ended up becoming rebel leader. So these guys don't care. They don't follow the law because there is no penalty. There is nothing happening to them. And if at all they turn this guy over, he's probably most likely he's dead. And who gave them what will make guys like Gregory Coleman to be so bold that he can walk into the prison and grab somebody out? Whose backing do they have? Who gave them the instruction or gave them some kind of assurance that they can do that?
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We got 4 minutes here, guys. We gave you 1 minute each. Or 2 minutes each. We got 6 minutes, 2 minutes each to do the closing. Let's start with Dr. Booty. You I know time is fast spent on your end. Your closing, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Gaiman. It's been a great show. I think there were some heated points put forward, but we've all come to the end and unscathed. So that's a good thing. I think I'm longing for the day that Mr. Tower will put forth this new system that we need to implement in Liberia that will be better than democracy and that will make our leaders more accountable to the people and stop some 43 members of the House of Representatives violating the Constitution, sitting on Capitol Hill, collecting free money, and being dishonorable, right? I don't think there is a system that can put that in place unless we want to go to a military junta. But I'm not sure that there is one that allows the freedom of the Liberian people. I think the representatives need to stop what they're doing and get back to doing the work of the people. They need to put a check on the executive so that our people can have a better country, a better life, and better opportunities. In terms of our brother who came out and you know whether he's a whistleblower or not, I think I'll leave that to others to determine. I don't think he is. I wouldn't have sacked him, like Mr. Patmo said he would. You know, I would basically call him in and try and understand why the system didn't work as it should. But finally, look, I think whether Mr. Sharif is a Liberian or a Guinean, he should have been afforded the due process. The Guinean government should have provided some evidence to show that he was recruiting people. They should have requested his extradition. That should have gone to the court. A judge should have seen the evidence that they've got against him. And there should have been promises from the Guinean government that he would be afforded due process on their side before he is then released, whether he is a Liberian or Guinean, to the Guinean government. If he is dead, it is an unfortunate situation. I think civil society leaders in Liberia need to stand up if that has happened. And the leaders of our security agencies that perpetrated this human right violation should be prosecuted under the laws of Liberia, right? Because what they did was illegal and they're culpable for the death of a man, right? That could be any of us, right? The fact that Mr. Padmo clarified that he was a Liberian, is a Liberian, we're hoping he's still alive, makes it even worse. That any of us could find that same fate falling on us. So it's unacceptable. And the individuals who are responsible need to face the law. They need to be prosecuted. And if they need to go to prison, let them go to prison to set a clear example that this, I don't think the government would do it. So civil society groups in Liberia need to be the ones coming up and say, look, this is not how we want this country to run, because we're all supposed to be protected by our government. And this was not the case.
Thank you. Dr. Tao.
Yeah.
Mr. Tao,
Okay.
your 2 minutes.
Yeah. Look at what happened, gentlemen. Great show. And I like when people disagree with me. I know I don't come with the so-called orthodox position. But look, Dr. Booty and Mr. Padmo and Mr. Eastman, they want to tell me now, oh, okay, which other system works other than democracy? That is not even the point. The point is, if we are in a situation and if it's not working for us, at least we admit and we recognize that, hey, this is not working for us. This is a collective something as a group. How can I come up with a system when we can't even admit that something is wrong with the one that we are using? Something is wrong with it. The foundational structure is not good. It's at fault. It is cracked. It is deformed. Okay, so I want to just make that point. So because by throwing that is to want to avoid to at least examine everybody else, examine what they inherited when they were so-called Guinea independence. And at least they were able to tweak it. They were able to modify it to where it suit. They were able to suit them. But we that's a question that we almost ask. The next one is, look, Mr. Nangwe called here and he said the progressive. Yeah, what can I say about them? The union that he is in, they created most of the problems. Whether it was intentional or it happened, Charles Taylor, he was president of the so-called union that he's with. Barcus Matthew, Tom Wowoyu, Ellen Johnson Saliv, all these guys, the same people that ended up in both the LPRC government, or how do you call it, LPRC? How you call that government?
The PRC government. The PRC
government, or in the war, the NPFL. These guys were the ones that funded it because they so much wanted power that after they came in and they couldn't even agree among themselves because everybody wanted power. The Moja group, the Sawyer, the Sawyer group, the Barker Mafia, and the other group, the Ellen group, even though they all came from the so-called progressive and from the union here, and they went in. So when they saw it, what happened? They sidelined them. The Americans, we can't deal with all these people. These are figureheads, they're all over the place. They gave it to one man that would walk one line. Samuel Doe came in. Then they all fled. They came back, they planned. Through the same union, they went back with war. So what is he talking about that we should give them some kind of credit? The multi-party democracy, yes, I can say they fought for something. I'm not trying to dispel that yes, it was time and even it was right that there were going to be crises because you can't exclude this many people and times were changing. And Torbo saw that and he was making a lot of talk, but the change was slow, whatever the case may have been. So nobody's not saying that it's progressive, but you got to also look at what mistakes they made or their fault. It is the same thing now. Everybody that come from here, they're too greedy for power. Everybody want to be president. Look at some of the so-called progressive and whatever. They came together to form one group for them to go against where. Very quick, everybody want to be president. Look at how they split up. So this is where we are. So so please don't come here that progressive that wish you. Man, the union that you run, look at what they just did here. The same guy that is the Fonati Kofa that sat there. We all sat here when he was forcing that they should share 45,000 with a country like that. They having retreat. They call him. My brother, Mr. Nambo, was there, and I watched this stuff. And Fonati Kofa is lecturing them on ethics and on value. And they sat there. What are they looking for? Are they looking for funding? Because we saw when they did it with the other guy on a wheel, and then immediately they created a budget for them. So the union have not really done anything useful for Liberia. So we are going to be here and we're going to tell the truth. The guys that are coming from the U.S., one of the qualms that he have with me is that if I keep saying the diaspora American Liberian, then people are going to, I'm singling, yes, I'm singling them out. Over 18 years, these are the guys that are going and forming government. The whole government is coming from abroad. The guys are supposed to be so educated and come from this advanced country, my brother. What is the outcome? We are looking at it. And he said, oh, there were 1% people like Edwin Snow. Yes, but these few guys, on whose leadership, on whose mentor were they working? It is the American, the Liberian, diaspora Liberian are the one that are in all the positions and hire the few guys. They set the tone. They set the platform. So these people follow it. We must hold ourselves responsible. I'm not going to be
Thank you, Mr. Taiwo. Thank you. Mr. Padmore.
Wonderful, man. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. man. Look, when this whole issue about our House of Representatives, I will always say I'm not a fan of Fonati Kofa. I don't believe he should have been speaker in the first place. We really should have turned a new page, gotten somebody with some history of integrity to lead the House. But he was elected by his peers. And once that was done, now that they want to remove him, they have to go by the law. Joseph Walker is our president. He was not my choice, but he was elected. And, so therefore it's election have consequences. Now I have to accept him as my president. And the only way I can move him is through the Constitution or to not re-elect him, in the next 5 years. It's called the law, the rule of law. And that's the difference between us and the animals. When it comes to Matthew Yemplu, like I said, he broke protocol. He left the soap, he started talking. Even Matthew knew they were going to fire him. Matthew knew you're not going to survive this. Hopefully this is a new leaf for him. He has a new lease on his political life. I hope he chooses his path well. This whole thing about the government and $25 million is another embarrassment for our country and a Unity Party government. It shows that these people were never prepared to rule. They were never prepared to rescue Liberia. They were only coming to rescue themselves. I don't know if you guys saw the video of today. The Unity Party government, for the past 2 days, they've been having meetings in a hotel. They have been avoiding the party headquarters because the party members that have been pushed aside are disgruntled. So they went to a hotel, a local hotel, to have the party meeting. Well, you guys heard about it. Today they went there. and they barricaded the place and refused to let the United Party leadership leave until their qualms were addressed. This is where we are. I felt so sad for them because they put their votes, they put their hopes, in a party, in a group of people that have no intention of improving their lives. They're disgruntled now. They will look for a small thing for them, and they will give it to them, and all of them will quiet down. I urge them not to take it, no matter how hard and difficult things might be. There is a bigger cause. If you tell that small thing right now, you buy a 25 kg bag of rice and you let gallon of oil, how long will it carry you? But if you stand up for truth and integrity, that will take you a long way. I know it's difficult. I'm not gonna hold anybody. I sit now in the US, comfortable in my home. I'm not gonna hold you to it, but I must speak to it. Finally, when it comes to Ibrahim Sharif, look, this government needs to answer. Today it is Sharif. Tomorrow it can be any one of us. Okay? We had the Ellen government. We saw what happened to people like Harry Reeves. We had a George Weah government. We saw what happened to the auditors. This government has gone 10 months, somebody disappear. Where are we headed again? Is this it? So this government needs to be held responsible. I hope the courts will not relent. I'm hoping we are calling on our lawmakers to step in, to summon the justice minister, to summon the head of prisons, to summon the police director, to the Senate chambers, to find out from them under oath what happened to this gentleman. And we're hoping that they will not let that go. Because if one person can go missing in Liberia, anybody can go missing. Thank you so much for the show, Mr. Gaiman. It's been a great time, as usual. And I look forward to another time with you guys.
Thank you very much, guys. Next deliberation next Sunday. We will be here. As for me, I did not expect anything out of Joseph Boakai. I told you guys from the beginning that Joseph Boakai was only president in name. Joseph Boakai is a mafioso. He operates better on a chaos where there's no rules, there's no accountability. As we speak, how he getting paid, how he running his car, how he's getting his fuel. All of these things should go through the process, through the house. Everything is on a chaos. He can walk to the central bank to his nephew and say, give me anything you want to give me, don't worry about it. Same thing. You walk into the prison, take somebody from there and kill them because they argue with you. That's what it is. This man said, according to the rule of law, he will declare his asset and make it public before he takes office. It didn't happen. The Supreme Court ruled against him. He disobeyed the Supreme Court. His office staff, his chief of staff, took $500,000 from our pension in Liberia. Nothing happened. $22 million for road. Nothing happened. $8 million to pay campaign debt. They say for the solvency of another bank at our expense. Nothing happened. This is a president that thrives in chaos. So don't be surprised if you went to Liberia and tomorrow you disappear. There's nothing you can do. There's no law and order. There's no rule of law. This is how you were here when Mr. Kamara, aka Tali, was on this show. When a young man's ear was decapitated, when a man's ear was cut off. What did he say? When you don't listen to your uncle, that's what we do to you in Lofa. That's what he said. There are people that died during the campaign in Foya on camera.
Yes.
The rule of law, what did he do? Nothing. In Monrovia, they killed people. There's a young lady they call Princess Johnson that killed somebody on camera. He turned around and hired the girl. The girl is deputy manager at the Freeport. The man who killed people in Lofa, they made him internal minister, that Yimale. So don't talk to me about Joseph Boyka being president. No, this man is a gangster. This man served in the Doe government. He was a major. So he knows nothing but dictatorship. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be here next week, same time. When they say we are all Liberian, whether you agree with them, but the guy from the north and the central part of Liberia have to convince me that there's anything good that can come out of the north. See you next Sunday.
We are Liberia.